Today, we're going to talk about the top story, which is about this app, which was created to counter the other app that's called the T app that women created to essentially bash men together. And there are some interesting developments that happened this week. Then, in the Delulu of the week, we're going to meet this lady who actually found out something very important, though almost immediately has lost interest. Then, in the profile of the day, we're going to meet this lovely lady and see if you should swipe left or right on her. And in the comment of the day, we will we'll visit the future and see what it's like. I think it's either going to be really awesome or really, really bad. Okay, the top story today is about the app called the T on Her, which was recently created as a counter to the app called the T. Now, in case if you weren't following this drama, a while back, women, though it was a man who created it, but women started using this app called T, where they together get to bash men that they went out with and didn't like for some reason. And some of it is reasonable, and of course a lot of it is gaslighting and just complete shit. This is what it looks like. If you're on a dating app or been on one in the last few years, you probably somewhere there. Of course, you had to actually go out with one of them, but even if you said something in the chat that she didn't like, it was probably posted there. Now, the men have created the sort of the here's another screenshot of the original one. The men have created the app called the T on Her, which is essentially a mirror of that. And Cosmopolitan magazine was not very happy about it, as you can see, which I do have to say that we don't need this app, and we'll go over why. This is what kind of this app looks like here, where you can again look at upload someone's picture, and then they will find it in his database, and then there will be comments from men, or in the case of the original app, from women. What's going on. Now, this week, TechCrunch published an article that app was also hacked, and therefore everybody who was a user got exposed. Now, this is pretty much a mirror reflection of what happened to the original T app that was hacked a few weeks ago. And like I said, the victims weren't really the men on that app, because you could just sign up for that app and enjoy the bashing. But it was the women, their selfies and their chats and all of their gaslighting was exposed for everybody to see. So that was kind of an ironic turn of events. And now it happened to men. Now, you're probably asking, Alex, I didn't know about this. I'm pretty worried about this app. What if I'm in there? Listen, you probably are. Unless you had no matches or no conversations that didn't go out. But here's the reason why you shouldn't worry, because any woman who joins an app like this and has other miserable, lonely women help you date by talking shit about men, probably is not marriage material at the very least, right? And also, don't forget, this app is essentially Yelp or Google reviews on men. When you go to a restaurant and you're still stupid enough to go to Yelp or Google reviews and see what do the other people think of the sushi here, you know, you're not doing it right. Because when you look at other people's reviews, they're most of the time just based on their taste. Oh, I thought the salmon wasn't fresh enough. Well, your taste buds are off, or you don't know what a good sushi tastes like because you've never been to Japan. Oh, I hated the service. Yeah, okay, maybe one waitress had a bad day that 3 months ago, but if you come in now, she doesn't even work there anymore, and there's a much better waiter in a better mood there. So this is why none of this really matters, right? If a woman gets on this app and says, "Oh, I'm not going to date that guy because this other girl did not like, what he said to her 3 months ago," these are then not dateable women. Now, the by the way, a good woman would just know what a good man is because she's been conditioned to figure it out by herself, by her father or any other strong male, positive male figure in her life. She doesn't need other losers, other women to bitch and complain about these men. And let me just show you a very, very sober observation about really why. And this is from another modern woman. So let's listen in because she is 100% right on the money.
Two things I've learned while snooping on the T app with little to no explanation. Number one, the majority of you are on there not because you care, but because you are there to compete. Number two, these men look exactly like what they would have done.
Yeah, that's right. I know that video gets cut off, but she's right. You know, those men who these women are complaining about, you don't need to go to this app to figure out that they're not really good men. Just like with women, you don't need other men telling on other women for you to figure out, oh, this girl who's covered in tattoos with a nose ring and a red hair and who demanded that I buy her dinner right away and refused the first coffee date, oh, I shouldn't be dating her, really? If you're that kind of an idiot, nothing's going to help you, not other men's, not the apps or whatever. If you don't know what a good woman is, nothing's going to help you. As a matter of fact, getting advice, especially when it comes to women, right? The worst advice a single woman is going to get is from another woman. And we see it over and over and over again. I feature these videos all the time on social media. By the way, we have one coming up in the Delulu of the Week segment. By the way, I have 5 different segments, right? Monday, Tuesday, the real man of the week, the Lulu of the week, her question of the week, and all that stuff. The easiest videos to find is for today's segment, the Delulu of the week, because of how delusional women are, because they're listening to advice of other delusional, lonely, and desperate women. And sometimes not desperate, just who don't know what a good man is. So your profile is probably somewhere in a T app. Now, hopefully, more women now going to be afraid of using it, but you don't have to worry about it. You know what? You don't have to worry about it. It's like, when like a 5-star restaurants, Michelin rated restaurants, they don't give a shit what you say about them in Yelp reviews or Google reviews or whatever, because people who go to those restaurants are not going to listen to anybody who shows up there and then submits a negative Yelp review. Oh, I went to this 5-star restaurant and I hated it. Legit people who go to 5-star restaurants don't have fucking time to bash 5-star restaurants. Okay. So don't you worry. But I thought this was an interesting story because this happened before I started covering the news, which I do now every day. And it was definitely worth mentioning because this is something that's going to happen over and over again. And by the way, this T app was based on what's still happening on Facebook, where I think it's called "Are We Dating the Same Guy?" So that those Facebook groups were created originally to see if a girl starts dating a guy and she wants to see if he already is in a relationship. Now, again, it's not that hard to tell. Cheaters are not that hard to tell apart. But okay, I get it. But of course, nothing good, ever is lost on modern women that will turn into something shitty. So those Facebook groups are now just bashing men and basically saying, oh, this guy. Now, don't get me wrong, there's tons of men who do shitty things, like ghost women or don't show up to dates and all of that stuff in much less numbers than women do it to men, but nevertheless, that's not good. But I gotta tell you, I'm almost never surprised when a girl stands me up for a date. Like, the signs are always there. This is why I always have my first dates at the same place, which is across the street at the coffee shop, to which I bring my laptop and just sit there and work. If the girl shows up, great, no problem. At the end of the successful date, I'm going to be bringing my little laptop and the girl back to my condo anyway. But if she doesn't show up, that is part of my daily routine. I've lost nothing. And especially when a girl is running late. Now, in America, there's absolutely no excuse for that, unless you live in a city like New York and so forth, where traffic isn't predictable like it is here in Bangkok. But other than that, you get up and leave, or you tell girl, just don't even bother showing up if you're more than 10 minutes late without a warning, right? So that's the story of week. Now, let's get to, let's see, do I have any comments? Oh yeah, I do have some comments, but let me set up the next screen first so we can move on to that one. once we are done with that. Okay, so let me take a couple of quick comments. Of course, The Rock is here every day. I appreciate it, buddy. YouTuber Better Bachelor did video about T app into being leaked, and most females there were found out to be ugly, I'm assuming. Yeah, listen, here's the thing. A girl can be ugly but still give a bad advice to a good looking girl, right? It really is on individual basis. It's the culture, right? The apps were around, just generally speaking, the apps were around forever. And now almost anybody without any type of software development experience can create an app. Okay. Like, and especially with the AI now, it will literally write the code for you. So, and there are services that will publish it for Apple and Android and all of that stuff. So there is a good reason why the T app has been created very recently, right? And it's just a reflection of the shitty dating culture. You guys think that I came to Thailand because I love Thailand so much? I'd never been to Thailand before. I've heard good things, but I've never been there before. My biggest exposure to Thailand was watching Hangover 2, and that's not a really good exposure to Thailand, right? So, you know, I came to Thailand, and thank God this is the best country on earth for me to live in. And I'm not going to give Yelp review to Thailand either, because it is the best country for me, but it may not be the best country for you. Philippines could be, or Cambodia, or Brazil, or whatever. So this is why I don't ever say, guys, come to Thailand, right? Try Thailand, but definitely get the fuck out of America. And this app, the T app, is essentially one of the symptoms of what's been happening, right? He also says the video was titled T app info leaked and women that judge men sure are special. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to sort of bash all of the women using this app, because I listen, there are some security reasons why some women want to make sure that, hey, if somebody went out with this guy and he tried, an assault on her, right? Or something extremely inappropriate, or he admitted to doing some time in prison. Yes, I can understand how for safety this could be useful, right? Like, for example, if it was my sister or my female friend or whatever female in my life that I care about, uh, you know, would be going out with a guy, of course I would want her to know if he has tried something or been convicted of something before. So this app originally, I think, was created for that. But like I said, you give it into the hands of Western women and it will turn to shit. So it is what it is. But thank you for the comment. Let's move on to the next segment, because like I said, I love the next segment, which is, let's see. Yeah, let's get to the Delulu of the week. Like I said, the easiest content to find on social media for me. And we're going to listen to this lady that actually had a bit of an epiphany, which I welcomed. So let's hear her out.
For peace. I saw a post that said that men are dating more for peace over beauty now. And if that doesn't tell you how dense and how black and white these men think, is that they're correlating more a beautiful, attractive women to be more difficult and more demanding.
She's absolutely right. And this is something that women are learning, that men are picking peace over everything else, including beauty. Now, I say this all the time on my channel, that unfortunately, the beautiful women nowadays, 8 and above, no matter where in the world they are, in a remote Kenyan village, which, by the way, I have visited recently, pretty much guaranteed to have one of these, right? And a Wi-Fi connection, which essentially gets her the attention and validation and even money from all kinds of simps and beta males from around the world. And even though she might start out as a good girl, this ridiculous pressure from the outside world of these pathetic simps essentially ruin her. So yes, unfortunately, 95% of the time, the beautiful women nowadays are undateable, because they also got taught how to not bring you peace. And yes, when a woman is not as attractive, she doesn't get as this sea of validation and everything. Some of these women, especially here in Southeast Asia, still know how to bring you peace, which is the most important thing that any man wants, especially nowadays. And that's what I recommend my audience. Don't go for an 8 or a 9. Doesn't matter how good looking of a guy you are, or rich, or both. Go for what I call it upgradable 7, right? A girl who is around 7, who just needs a few more makeup tutorials on YouTube, a membership to a gym, and a pair of pumps. That's really all it is. And all of a sudden she's an 8 or above just because of that, right? But if she gives you peace, that is the most important thing. I got to tell you, I see a lot of women here, they're not very good looking, walking around with good looking foreigners and Thai men. And you go, at first I was like, well, why is this happening? This good looking guy, he's got money. Why isn't he with a beautiful, gorgeous girl? And then I realized that because those girls who are not that attractive are actually good women. They haven't been corrupted yet. Now, this girl right here doesn't have to worry about it, right? And there are plenty of corrupted, delusional, not good looking women. So she doesn't have to worry about it. But as I promised, the rest of the video is full of gaslighting, delusion, and hypocrisy. So let's listen in.
Instead, what men are really trying to say is that they don't want to be held accountable for their actions. They want to be able to do certain things and you not being able to say anything about it to them, okay? In their mind, they think.
Yeah, so this is gaslighting and delusion, just excellent. Now, whenever a girl says you're a narcissist, you're toxic, you don't want to be held accountable for your actions, most of the time, these are all the qualities of her. And the reason she's attacking the men for the same thing is just a strategy of a really good narcissist and a really good delusional modern woman. Right? Every time a woman calls a man a narcissist or toxic, if you really dig in, she's usually attacking a guy with boundaries and self-respect, while she is the one who actually carries all the toxicity, and bashing a good man is part of that. So this is exactly what she's doing, right? She's saying, oh, men just don't want to be held accountable. No, we actually want peace. We want to hold you accountable for your actions. And unfortunately, women who are beautiful, again, and it's not their fault a lot of times, have fallen a victim of just being used to all of the attention and validation and the money coming in, right? Like, for example, when you talk to a beautiful girl nowadays and you invite her for a date, right? She's difficult from the very beginning because she doesn't want to get to into my neighborhood. A lot of times it's like 45 minutes here, right? She doesn't even understand what it's like. Why? What do you mean 45 minutes to go and see a man when all of these guys are willing to come to my neighborhood and to be on my schedule? I have to work around this guy's schedule, like and spend 45 minutes one way to go and see him. What? And all I'm going to get out of it is just a cup of coffee or a drink. He's not going to buy me this lavish, expensive dinner. Like, when they meet men like me, which are not that many, even here in Thailand, they go like, wait, what? Like, I have to put effort into this? I've never done this before. And a lot of times it's not their fault. So they go like, no. Like, obviously, because there's like, as I'm inviting them to this date, there's like 100 other guys are willing to make it so much easier on them. Now, are the quality of those men low? Yes. But again, these women don't know. These women don't know. So like I said, you can't blame them. Now, are there a bunch of 5s and 6s and 7s that are behaving exactly the same way because there's just enough overflow of simps to simp for them? Yes. But your chances of actually finding a good girl who is not a beauty queen, who will give you peace and will be an amazing future wife, is just much higher. Even here in Thailand, it's a problem. But let's keep going.
To themselves that if I date a less attractive person, I can get away with more. They won't be as demanding. They'll be more peaceful.
Well, don't say peaceful like this, bitch. Peaceful is very important to us. Yes, women who don't have really, really high demands because they were spoiled, but actually offer a lot, are great women for us. And yes, a lot of us will, be flexible on the beauty just to get the peace, because the way the women are nowadays, and she is a great example of that, is that Men are just fucking tired of giving and giving and giving and more and more and more and receiving way less that women used to offer even like 10 or 20 years ago, right? You think this girl cooks and cleans and gives you massages and brings your slippers to the door when you come home after a long way of work? No. I always suggest this for you guys, right? Always ask yourself, the girl I'm dating or I'm married to, is she able to compete with our family's dog, right? When I walk into my home, when after a long way a day of work, who is happier to see me, my wife or my girlfriend or the dog, right? When I just want to relax in front of the TV with a glass of beer and just kind of wind down from the day before I hear all the bitching and complaining about her coworker and her friend and then and the Jenny, who is giving me more peace? My wife, who is here massaging my feet and bringing me the beer and being very quiet, or the dog? Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people saying, "Oh, you compared women, so you think women are dogs." Don't be this unfair to dogs. Okay. And honestly, what is the problem? Are you saying that some women cannot compete with domestic animals? Well, I guess that's my entire point, right? So this is the gaslighting that these girls do. And by the way, I don't even think she is gaslighting, because I think in her head, I mean, she's gaslighting, but in her head, this is actually reality.
In reality, so many men give women the chaos.
Now, in some cases that is true, but then why are you with those men? As we talked in the first segment, with men, just like with women, you don't really need that much or the extra apps to figure out when a man is a piece of shit. Just like you don't need much to figure out that a woman is undateable, So why are you picking this man?
They're the ones that bring the chaos. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to see their actions. They don't want their fragile ego to be hurt because they have been propped up their entire lives by society. And when a
Well, again, and this is the gaslighting, right? Women who think that men in Western countries like America, Great Britain, or whatever, been prepped by the society to be anything, that is bullshit. In Western societies, and this is one of the reasons I left, men are essentially second-class citizens. Now, I already have a video about 10 the most anti-men laws in America. You're more welcome to see it. It's on my channel. It's actually pinned to the top in my TikTok account. But even in just society, right, men cannot say a lot of things about women, while women can absolutely say a lot of things about men. It is everywhere on social media. I just did a story yesterday, right, about the man defending his wife and having to punch a couple of girls out to get off of him and her when they were attacked by 5 women. That video is not being promoted by TikTok at all. When I posted on TikTok, I had 0 views, right? But literally 2 days earlier, if you follow my channel, I've covered a story where a girl, ended up assaulting a man, right? And I didn't have to blur, because in the first video, I had to blur stuff, right? But in that video, I didn't blur anything, right? Guess what? All of a sudden, it's perfectly fine with TikTok when a man is being assaulted by a woman. That's not a problem. As a matter of fact, some of the accounts that flourish on TikTok are accounts that glorify domestic violence against men. So this whole notion that this men have been conditioned by the society to not take a man, if a man who is a fuck up will absolutely be brought down to his knees by the society and reality, where a woman will never have this type of responsibility in Western countries. Here in Thailand, oh my God, women absolutely get punished for picking wrong men, having babies with wrong men, and all that kind of stuff, right? But in Western societies, absolutely not. Men conditioned to be the submissive little bitches, and I also just did a story about that. But okay, let's keep going.
a woman calls them out for their behavior, they don't like it. So instead, this is how black and white they think. Well, if I go for someone easier and who demands less, which is someone that's less attractive.
Yeah. We don't want you to demand anything in the first place. These demands that women have now, and as you know, I review profiles, dating profiles every day. Yesterday, I reviewed the one that had, or maybe 2 days ago, that this whole list of demands. And then she said, well, by the way, tattooed, overweight mother of two, I think, right, in her 30s, with all of these demands. And then she's like, well, I have a lot to offer you. Come and find out. And it's like, no, you don't have that much to offer. That's a problem. Men don't mind, a requirements list from a woman, right? As long as it's reasonable. But if they get something in return, you're like, okay, no, I understand. This woman gives me peace. She's beautiful. She is this, and then yes, of course, I want to be in shape myself and have a good career to be able to provide for the family and so forth and so forth. That makes sense, right? But the problem, once again, is the same. This list of demands, and these women are just saying the quiet part out loud all the time, as Dan likes to say. These are the demands. These are not preferences or even requirements or green flags or red flags. These are the demands, right? The last time I heard the word demand is when I watched a hostage situation on CNN. Like, how the fuck is that word as a part of the dating conversation?
She won't need so much from me. And they would rather do that than own up to their mistakes and actually change as a man. They would go for someone that they're less attracted to because they don't want to change who they are. That is how black and white they think.
Now, I got to say that, and I mean, I can see where she's going with it, which is actually logical, believe it or not. But here's the thing. To me, any girl who is 7 or above is attractive enough to be in a relationship with, right? Because, I mean, I can argue that every man who's not dating the Victoria's Secret model is settling for less beautiful woman, right? I mean, just like with, if a girl is not dating whoever's the male underwear model right now is, right? They're all settling. So I guess you can argue that we're all settling for less beautiful women. But the thing is, again, number one, and this is the lesson I thought was learning here, but I guess she's not, peace is more important than beauty. Also, some men are attracted to women who the other men would not find attractive at all, right? I'm a booty guy, right? A girl must have some booty for me to be attracted to her sexually. And I see guys who walking around, especially here in Southeast Asia, with girls who are like, right? And they think those girls are beautiful. I would be like, I can't even bring into my bedroom. Literally, I can't do it. Like, I just can't do it, right? But these guys go like, wow, this is a beautiful girl, right? Because maybe they're the face guy or boob guy or stomach guy, whatever, right? So all of this is also very relative, right? So we're all settling, if you really think about it, because even for men who are, more visual still than women, though the gap is definitely closing, we still need other qualities in women when it comes to long-term relationships.
They won't even go for even like the person that they're ideally more physically attracted to.
Yeah, no, we would. But, last time I contacted the Victoria's Secret catalog model, for some reason, she didn't reply to me back.
They will be with someone less attractive just because that they will put up with more, because these men want to be able to get away with cheating. They want to be able to get away with going to strip clubs. They want to be able to get away with a lot more behavior with someone who won't demand as much.
Again, the word demand, but this is a weird way to look at men, and maybe it's a reflection of the type of men that she particular dates. We started with men want peace, right? And all of a sudden, and when that peace means to cheating and going to strip clubs. What? I mean, like, for example, I have not been to a strip club in like maybe 10 years, right? And I've never cheated on any girl. Now, granted, I never been in a monogamous relationship, but you can still cheat in a non-monogamous relationship. That's why it's called ethical non-monogamy, but that's a different topic. So, like, how all of a sudden this girl's, and this is why she is the Delulu of the week, is because she equates peace with cheating and going to strip clubs. By the way, there's nothing wrong with going to strip clubs. It's not my thing. But if a guy wants to look at some other naked women, which is kind of like, I guess, watching some type of porn as well. I mean, is really that big of a deal for you? Okay, whatever. But we're almost there.
Because it's easier. It's just simply easier with how these men want to date these days. So it's really wild how these men are thinking. Don't even know how to go about it, honestly.
Well, how you can go about it is go back to the reality, right? And understand what peace means to us, understand that beauty is not everything for us, and then beauty is also in the eyes of a beholder, right? Like I said, some women that I find not attractive sexually at all are goddesses to some other men, and the other way around. Like, I've always been to black women, and I know a lot of guys just don't find black women attractive, and that's okay. More for me, so this is why she is the Delulu of the week, and we'll have another one next week, and it's going to be really, really easy to find. And the reason I bring this up is that, and like I said, this girl is very, at best, average looking, right? This is how even average women are thinking. Somehow they've had enough simps and beta males in their lives, and of course, as always, horrible advice from other miserable single women, to form this opinion, right? If this girl would go to a good man and ask him a question, or watch my channel, for example, what is it that men want, why they want that, and what can I do to get those men, right? Because she's making this video because she doesn't have any good men in her life. Otherwise, she wouldn't be busy, bitching and complaining. She is a number one great candidate to join the T app, though I'm pretty sure she's already a member. So, and that's unfortunately the reality, where these women don't live in reality. And don't get me wrong, so are the simps and beta males who are in her inbox and her DMs. That's the reality. Okay, let's move on to the next segment here. Let me set myself up really quick. Let's see. All right. The dating profile of the day. Every day I feature a dating app profile, and we figure out whether or not we swipe left or right on it. So let's get started with this girl, Samantha. Now, cute girl, by the way. And we're going to go over some pictures. Now, right away, there's boobs in my face right away. So we know she is going to lead with sex. She will never admit it, but she will, right? Now, in this picture, we are seeing a tattoo, which, by the way, looks like it's brand new. So she is 25, and she just got stupid enough where she decided that tattoo is a good idea. Another red flag. Now, today I'm going to teach you something very interesting, and that is, when you look at a picture like this, if there's more than one picture like this in a profile, you want to figure out, what are these places that this girl visited, right? Is it like Dubai, Paris, and all of these destinations on which you have to spend money? That's a bit of a yellow flag, because you always want to know, well, where did she get all of this money, right? It either comes with her very busy career and she funds it herself, but then there's no time for you, and she's probably a boss chick, or some other guy has paid for it, or maybe her daddy. So therefore, she is used to men funding her lifestyle. Now, in this picture, I don't recognize the skyline. Maybe some of you do, maybe some of you don't. But I want to know, is this Detroit, Michigan? Or is this Dubai? This is how you do it, guys, and I will teach this to you right now. You go to Google. A lot of people don't know, but if you click on this little icon, and you can upload a file, and let me upload a file with her in it. Let's see. I thought I had it, and maybe I don't have it. All right. Well, let me see. Yeah. Okay. So here it is. Yeah. So that is, then you actually, this is not the best way to do it, but you actually highlight the part that you wanted to see. Okay. And then, as you can see, it will tell you what this skyline looks like. And at the end of the day, you will see that you will be able to click on this link here, and it will tell you that it is almost exactly where it is. It is in Chicago, right? So you go like, okay, Chicago, that's all right. That's not a lavish trip. But again, this is how you can tell where this woman traveled on her vacations, to see if her lifestyle is expensive, and then wonder where the money is coming from. So you're welcome. All right. Now, on top of that, by the way, you can also do the same thing with her jacket. Like you can actually see if the jacket is expensive that she's wearing, because a lot of you guys don't know what the female brand names are, and sometimes there is no tags on them or whatever. So you can say, she like, I actually already Googled this jacket, and it's like a $40 jacket. That's not a $2,000 jacket. You can do the same thing with purses and other items, right? So this is how you tell if this girl has a taste for money. Okay, now she's also dressed in a hooker boots here, so that's not a good sign. Here's another vacation spot. This is probably going to be impossible to tell where she's at. Another cute picture, and we're back to this one, right? Okay, so as you can see, there's already quite a few red flags from which and yellow flags which you have to run. But let's keep going, right? Okay, now she's 25. Now, if you don't know, 25 is the peak age for most women, because this is the age where the most beautiful, and beauty is essentially the number one thing that is valuable about your future partner. Sorry to break this shallow reality to you. Okay, she is 5'5". All right. Employed full time. She's politically liberal. So I know, especially in America, it's a big deal. If you're conservative, then it could be a problem. I'm independent, so I don't mind as long as it's not an extreme on either end. Doesn't want kids, but might want them. That's great. And doesn't have pets. So honestly, this part is not bad. Now, she says she's looking for men for new friends, short term dating, and hookups. Now, notice that there is no long term relationship here. Um, Now I got to tell you, when it comes to dating, women are the dumbest species on the world in the world. I'm not calling women dumb in general, because a lot of them are great lawyers and great doctors and so forth, right? But when it comes to dating, an earthworm has a better sense of how to look for a mating partner, right? So in this case, I got to tell you, I see a lot of girls put this in, and I go like, oh, you're looking for hookups. Like I will type it in, and they will be like, "What? Me? No hookups? What the fuck are you talking about? Get a hell, you know?" And I'm like, "Have you seen your fucking profile? Like when you created your profile, did you go over it and make sure everything looks correct?" Oh, I said it says you're looking for hookups. What? No, I didn't know that. I'm gonna change. And it's like, you know, you're not able to use the most basic check form, where it says, "What are you looking for?" An earthworm would be able to do a better job using a basic check form that we've had around for like 30 fucking years, right? So again, you just have to count on some of these women are retarded when it comes to looking for their partner and using any type of tools. But mind you, right? She's the type of a girl who would have no problems using the T app, right? All of a sudden, that interface, no problem. But a simple checkbox just to see what she's looking for, that's a challenge. Okay, now let's get to the meat of this profile. And this is where the biggest red flag comes from, though tattoo should be it. I am ambitious and hardworking woman. Usually men like peace and beauty, right? And peace over beauty, as we discovered earlier today. If you have actually discovered it and didn't know before, then you're welcome. Um, Ambitious and hardworking woman usually means a career woman who wants to make her own money, be independent, and spends her 20s doing just that rather than trying to find a good man, even though she is at the peak of her biggest value as a woman. This is a big red flag. Now, of course, if you talk to her, you might find out that, like, well, she's not really that ambitious or hardworking. To be honest with you, she just said it. But the fact that it came out of her mouth, I mean, through her fingers, is definitely a red flag, or I would say big, big yellow flag to find out what. And I'd say 95% of the time, she probably meant it, right? Okay. Then she says, and I wanted to achieve my goals in life, right? So it's my goals, my ambition, me. There's nothing about, hey, I will be a good wife. I like to cook. I like to give men peace. I am submissive. I like to take care of my men. None of that shit. It's me. I'm working for me. And I'm looking for you. And guess what? What I'm going to expect from you is to do things for me. So this is how you read into this type of a profile. I am very open-minded. That's usually bullshit. Open-minded means you don't mind a threesome once in a while. Okay. Anything other, just don't give a damn. I love to explore new adventures. All right. I don't like dramas. Yeah. All right, no, by the way, is this even needed to be said, right? Nobody's gonna say, you know what? I want to tell you something. I love drama, you know? No, so this is like unnecessary. What does that mean? Nobody likes drama, but most of the time, women are gonna be the source of one. I am very straightforward person. Okay, this girl will talk shit to you and expect you to take it. That's how you translate that from the modern women speak. I am looking for someone who is open-minded and open to explore new things. Listen, maybe she is looking for hookups and short-term dating. Who knows? You know, usually the girls who are on dating apps looking for just sex, a little bit more obvious about it, and they're usually on different the other dating apps. Like OkCupid is kind of more of a wholesome app nowadays. You know, those women are usually go to Field and, you know, like other kink sites, right? If they just want just sex. Usually when girls want just sex, it's not usually just plain, you know, missionary style type of a thing. It's usually something that they would probably find on the kink app. So there we are. Again, very cute girl, right? So a lot of guys will see a picture, go like, "Oh, I'm definitely gonna swipe right." And then if she matches with him, she's like, "Oh, a cute girl matched with me. Let's start talking to her." And you completely bypass the profile. You bypass all of the other pictures, right? Because in this picture, like if I'm just looking at it the way it is right now, there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a swipe right profile, right? But the devil is in details, and oh boy, there is plenty of devil in this and many other profiles. And that's why we do this. This is why I always want to do this for you guys, because majority of these women, especially Western women on dating apps, especially in America, this is what Fairfield, California, are not dateable. And honestly, and they are unlikely to go to bed with you, no matter how much they say that they're looking for hookups. They probably not. And if they are, it's you most likely going to get beat out by a Chad, right? All right, let me take another quick question from The Rock. The fact that women are spoiled by social media is their parents' fault. Weak families can do a lot of damage to any country. So I think these are two different things that do overlap. I think that you know, obviously most people nowadays are raised by single mothers, or in Western countries, simp fathers. So women don't know what a good, strong, positive male role model is, so they can never be attracted to one or even know how to deal with one. And men don't know the same either, so they grow up to be just like their absent fathers or their simp fathers, into beta males who are simps, right? And that feeds its own toxicity over and over and over again. And like I said, I keep telling you guys, men like me don't leave their countries with the culture we know, the language we know, our friends, our families, you know, the places that we know, the culture that we know. We don't just do it for shits and giggles. It's actually quite difficult. That's why I do have the millionmanproject.com course for those of you who do want to take this journey, that you understand and prepare yourself for how difficult it is. Now, my life was great in America, but now it is absolutely amazing because I moved. And I definitely recommend it to pretty much everybody. Yep, got muted. Okay. Um, but on the other hand, obviously there's social media that spoils, especially good-looking women, and a lot of times it's not their fault. They don't have guidance of what good men are. So essentially, when they see men giving them shit, right, money, stuff, attention, validation, they just believe that this is what men are in general. So when a man like me comes along and I have standards and self-respect, and I have a lot to offer that these women don't even know men can provide, right? All they are conditioned to understand is tons of love bombing and money. That's all. That's the only type of men that they come across, because a lot of times men like me see a profile like this and they, of course, I'm going to swipe left. And even if we do end up getting matched, again, she would have to not have tattoos or ambitions, you know, she will be like, what do you mean you're taking me out for just a coffee? What do you mean I have to, you know, work with your schedule because you're a busy man who runs a business and so forth? They don't even fucking understand what's going on, and that's why they bail. Happens to me all the time, even here in Thailand. Even here in Thailand, it is a problem sometimes. All right, let me set up for the next and last segment, and a lot of times a favorite of mine. So, oh yeah, one more thing. Man, I gave myself a lot of homework by making sure that all of these have to be changed. And back to the chat. Okay, the comment of the day today comes from Tom Loveday, apparently, and he is bringing up a very interesting question and a point. Uh, I've covered AI for a while now. It was a top story earlier this week or the week before, where AI is getting advanced enough where it is starting to replace women one way or another. I literally typed in the chat in the chat with one of the girls I matched the other day. The conversation was just so pathetic. I said, you know what, I'm done. I said I've had more exciting conversations with Chat GPT, and I wasn't full of shit. I literally have a more exciting conversations with Chat GPT. Chat GPT is just more empathetic nowadays than real women. All right, so let's get to it. Could this become a common scenario in 40 to 60 years when real AI robot wives become a reality? This is that is There just are not any guys available to this class of women. Same kind of lopsided ratio issue. So yes, this is a topic that will define the future of dating. And by the way, I have generated this image with AI. As a matter of fact, I had another image where I had me generated into this image, but it had some issues, and I was too lazy to actually bring it up. But this was generated by AI, and this is going to be the choice between, real women on your right, and humanoid robots. And by the way, the humanoid robots will not look like a robot. It will look like that woman on the other side. Um, Now, I don't think it's going to take 40 or 60 years. I do think that the first humanoid robots will be here with a lot of biotech advances. Most likely going to be here within about a decade. Of course, we don't know. Technology goes up and down in terms of how fast it gets developed. But what is starting now is the AI companions. And there are already a few apps. I featured those apps on this channel already, where you can create whatever you can create a virtual girlfriend, right? She can look however you want her to look, and there will be pictures of her. She can say, listen, I am making chicken with rice right now at my kitchen, and there will be a picture of your virtual girlfriend making chicken and rice in her picture, right? And you essentially end up having a virtual relationship with her. You can put a settings in, like, I want a girl who's very submissive. I want her to call me honey bunny, whatever the fuck you're into. And essentially, a lot of men are simply having, which is really not that much of a surprise, just better relationship with an AI robot by chatting than with a actual girl with demands and periods and all of that stuff, right? And it is amazing that human women are just no longer, especially Western women, are able to compete with a pile of chips nowadays. And guess what? This AI is not basing this virtual girlfriends on modern women. This AI, I guarantee you, every single virtual girlfriend's been created, and all of these apps are based on a traditional submissive woman, which there are less and less of, and that's why I live in Thailand now, and very happy with it. So yes, this is how it's already started. The next step is going to be porn, right? So what's going to happen? You're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to create or import your girlfriend into a Pornhub, whatever, right? And that's where you'll be able to put yourself in there, and you will be able to create whatever porn with her you want. And of course, you can bring in third, fourth people if you're into that. You can get an extra whip, whatever you're into, right? You will generate whatever porn with this virtual girlfriend you want, and you will be watching your own uh, AI generated porn. Now, this is going to drive OnlyFans girls out of business instantly, which is always a great side effect, right? It's probably going to drive Pornhub out of business, but I'm sure Pornhub will actually, and I can see already the ads on there, shifting to AI. So that's going to be step number two. But of course, the step number three would be at first sex bots, right? Uh, and then, of course, just fully humanoid girlfriends. Now, is this going to happen? Absolutely. The question is, just like with any technology, right? We look at the technology like we looked at dating apps, right? Remember, we saw the dating apps. It was like, oh my God, I don't have to approach women in person, which I'm really afraid to do, and I can just approach them online, which is not a big deal. Wow. And I can go and have access to thousands and thousands of girls like within like 5 mile radius, instead of going to a bar and maybe seeing the one or two that I like. And then again, she might have a boyfriend, she might be a smoker, and I find out that at the end of the night, so I wasted my night and the money, where here I can just filter them out. Wow. And that was wow, right? I found amazing women, and I've been in a couple of amazing relationships, and even more short-term relationships and sexual relationships, all based on how amazing the dating apps were, right? That technology was, at some point, I definitely thought that the dating apps were the best thing, that best thing that came out of the high-tech boom. But look, what made our dating lives amazing, and many people got married and so forth, essentially was turned against us, right? Dating apps now are the worst thing that happened to the modern dating. So I have a feeling that this is going to happen with the next technology, which is AI. At first, it will be, wow, this is great. But at some point, I think, and I'm hoping that at some point, women will realize, oh, holy shit, men don't need us at all. And obviously, if men don't need us at all, we can take advantage of them. We can get the attention and validation and sex and money out of them. Women will start changing, right? And women will start saying, oh, let me look up the behavior of these robots that was based on, oh, it was based on my grandmother, and this is what she used to be like. Okay. And then there will be tutorials and schools for women how to become submissive, good housewives, right? And that's when I think things will turn around. We will also find out that, being with a real girl is still different, and we want that, reality than robots. Oh, we won't, but I think we will, and then things will start turning around. And I think that's what's going to happen. But yes, I think the downfall of women is going to happen over the next few years, and definitely a decade, where all of this bullshit is going to stop. All of this bullshit is going to stop. Now, are the men who are simps and are raised are simps will end up raising the next generation of men who are simps, or those new generation of men will actually men up, and the virtual girlfriends will essentially show them what it's like to be a real man? I don't know. I don't know. So all of those factors are real, because maybe there will be a generation of men who would want to be beta male by design, and therefore, why use an AI girlfriend or robot girlfriend when you want to be used and abused? I don't know. That could be a turning point that nobody saw coming, right? So we don't know. Okay, so The Rock says, I thought that the comment of the day was about hate comments, but it looks like that you changed your stance. It is now the most intriguing comment of the day. Yeah, well, so yeah, you're right. I originally wanted a comment of the day because I get so much hate, right? So much hate. And I thought it would be interesting to break it down. But what I found out is, when I'm looking through those hateful comments, I mean, they're just hateful comments. There's not much to reply to, right? A lot of them are not very creative. I hope you die. You pathetic loser. You probably incel. You probably moved to Thailand because you're a pedo. All of that, the classics. I mean, there's nothing to reply to, right? I mean, what do you guys want me to do? Back and forth shit talking and poop, over the fence throw in here? That's not good. But what I did find out once I started really digging into the comments, that a lot of them are either, useful, in terms of some of you made some really good comments, that I never even thought of, right? Or like this comment, where it's just a good question to talk more about on a topic that I think is going to be one of the hottest topics ever. I just attended an AI conference here in Bangkok. So I'm telling you, and you probably don't even need me to tell you, is that this is the next big thing in our lives, in every single part of our lives. is the AI, and dating and sex is not going to be any different. So that's what's happening. And yes, so I guess it is the most interesting comment of the day, but because it is just a comment of the day, I will still try to, if I see a toxic, shit talking comment that's creative and gives me a sense of something that I can talk about, I will absolutely feature it. But ever since I started this almost 2 weeks ago, I just haven't found one. So, all right, guys, that's it for now. I have a feeling I know what the story of the day will be tomorrow, but I don't want to speak too soon. And of course, we're going to come back with what is a Friday? I think Friday is her question of the week. Those are always fun when women ask questions of men on social media. As always, I'm happy to help and answer. Then we will go over another dating profile and another most interesting comment of the day as well. Until then, have an awesome day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.